We all know that preserving open space is a very high priority for New Jersey residents. Our state has invested billions of dollars in planning open space and collecting green assets. However, that investment will be squandered and the land spoiled by allowing a pipeline to interfere with our preservation goals. Over 65% of New Jersey voters last year approved a referendum to direct even more hard-earned taxpayers' dollars toward open space, farmland, and historic preservation. It is our choice, our residents, that our communities maintain their rural and farmland character in a state that is so overdeveloped. Our voters did not choose to preserve land, to have it confiscated by a consortium of companies, some even outside the state of New Jersey, seeking to profit from our taxpayers' sacrifices. We should never put private profit over good public policy. Even more egregious is the idea that landowners may be forced to turn over their private land to benefit the PennEast Pipeline companies. The affected homeowners have chosen to invest in rural property for many reasons, for farming or even simply because it offers them a retreat to nature. Applying eminent domain would be more than a loss of land and land values to these residents. It is a loss of their American dream. Our residents are rightfully concerned as well about the health and safety hazards associated with more pipeline sections being proposed and built in our state. The PennEast Pipeline proposes to cut across the Delaware River as well as 76 streams and 44 wetlands in the Delaware River watershed, all of which flow into the Delaware River and supplies drinking water to 19 million people. Sediment, debris, chemicals that will be emitted during construction and once the pipeline is built threaten our clean water supplies, the sustainability of fish and wildlife, our agricultural economy, and the health of every individual that relies on this water source. Public taxpayer dollars and private funding have been invested in the Delaware River watershed to help protect land and restore streams to reduce the threat to our water supplies. The Delaware River watershed represents a lifeline to our region, and our investment in protecting our waterways should be respected and protected. I am pleased that the citizens in New Jersey and Pennsylvania have banded together to demonstrate the power of community organization and public forum participation in this effort. While we may never be able to penetrate the profit at all costs mentality, I am hopeful that our citizens' impassioned pleas to reason with will sway the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission to protect and respect our environment, local government, citizens, and our taxpayers. No company nor federal government representative should be allowed to coerce citizens into acting against their best interest and in the best interest of our environment or the best interest of our communities or the best interest of our state. Our public safety and property rights concerns must be heard.
Shirley, can you wrap it up, please?
Yes. Must be.
Senator Turner, please wrap it up.
Our public property and public safety concerns must be heard, protected, and respected. We have to have a right to self-determination that would be violated by imposing this pipeline on our communities. I stand with the environmentalists, the conservationists, the landowners, the concerned citizens, and the taxpayers in opposition to PennEast Pipeline.
Inflict a significant and enduring level of harm to the ecology, the economies, the history, health, safety, and quality of life of our communities. And yet there is no demonstrable or defensible community need for the PennEast Pipeline or the gas that it will pass. PennEast is being built to service the shale gas industry, an industry which itself and economies of our communities, and it is an industry that is going to be very short-lived. According to objective experts, by 2020, natural gas production in this country will peak. By 2040, it will be seriously dwindling. When we look at fracked shale gas, the kind of gas that would be transported by the PennEast Pipeline project, there is a mere 5 years of supply in the United States. And that is assuming that all of the gas will remain here in this country. And that is not something we presume at all. Once constructed, the PennEast companies have no legal obligation to keep the gas in this country for use. We know that they can sell the gas for as much as 3 times the amount overseas. We know that PennEast hooks into a pipeline system that has a direct path to the Cove Point LNG export facility that was recently approved. We know that despite tonight's self-serving and non-binding comments from Peter Terranova, representing the PennEast Pipeline Company, that PennEast has been very careful not to use any language that would prevent export as a future viable, if not already planned for, option for the PennEast pipeline gas. So no NEPA analysis, so any NEPA analysis needs to presume that the gas could, in the near term and in the long term, be exported overseas. The NEPA analysis needs to consider that we are talking about building a massive new pipeline with a heavy ecological and community footprint to serve a quickly dwindling fuel source with a very short future life. When considering the costs and the benefits of PennEast, FERC must do so in comparison to clean energy technology. Clean energy options are a viable means for fulfilling Pennsylvania and New Jersey's present and future energy needs. The job creation, the environmental protection, the economic benefits, and the health benefits are all greater with clean energy technology than with shale gas. For every $1 million invested in clean energy options, you generate 3 to 5 times the number of jobs that would otherwise be generated by the gas industry. And that means that if this region were to invest in clean energy technologies, it would create and sustain a significantly higher number of jobs and benefits than if the pipeline is built. And at the same time, we will be protecting the lives and the jobs that are created and sustained by our healthy ecological systems. Our clean and healthy Delaware River supports over $22 billion of annual economic benefit and hundreds of thousands of good-paying jobs every single year. And that is, of course, in addition to the pure, clean, healthy drinking water it supplies to over 17 million people, the unrivaled recreation, the irreplaceable beauty, education, and quality of life contributions it already makes as a member of our community. Any NEPA analysis, do not interrupt me, sir.
Awesome.
Any NEPA analysis needs to compare their benefits, the benefits of preserving our river, our watershed, and our communities to irreparably harming them. Any valid NEPA analysis will determine that PennEast should be built. Any valid NEPA analysis will ensure that the pipeline alternative will be selected. That is the only option we will accept. And we are here to tell you today that we will defend our river, and we will defend our watershed, and we will defend our communities with our voices, with our lawyers, and with our bodies. So
I'm presenting this testimony as a trustee of Saraland Conservancy, a nonprofit regional organization dedicated to the protection of the Saraland Mountain region. My husband and I are residents of the Saralands in East Amarillo Township for 40 years. We are opposed to the PennEast Pipeline because the adverse impacts it will cause cannot be justified. The natural gas it will deliver is not needed. The upstream fracked shale gas extraction, midstream pipeline-related infrastructure, and downstream processing and end-use damages are environmentally devastating, long-lived, and permanently degrading from cradle to grave. We oppose both proposed routes. There is no acceptable route for a project that is not justified. My comment is focused on local stream impacts of the pipeline to Saraland Mountain streams. These streams are all part of the 55,000-acre Saraland Mountain region that is characterized by hard rock geology, contiguous forest, high-quality habitats, many headwaters, wetlands, and vernal pools, and active farmland. The majority of the land is forested. The portion of the pipeline that would cut across West Amwell and Hopewell townships is located in the Saraland Mountain region. One of the driving forces for the extensive intermunicipal planning and the protection efforts that have occurred in Saraland communities is the natural scarcity of groundwater due to the poor yielding aquifers of its geologic formations. This makes the base flow of the springs and seeps that originate on the mountain and the headwaters and the streams they form essentially important in terms of stream flow quality and quantity. Disruption of the hydrologic regime of these streams has a large impact on the mountain streams and on downstream waterways. The flow and quality of the water in these streams require protection to maintain healthy and flowing conditions, and regulations require that protection. Among our greatest concerns is that streams that would be crossed by both routes proposed by PennEast will be negatively impacted due to the disturbance of the aquifer recharge areas that feed the groundwater that provide base flow to these streams because of the high impact operations that will be required and the disruption this will cause in recharging groundwater. I outlined these and our other greatest concerns, the major direct impacts to these streams in my written testimony, and I also provide information on each of the impacted streams. These impacts are in large part unavoidable and no less damaging if the route is co-located with an existing cut across a stream, such as is proposed by PennEast's alternate route along the utility right-of-way. In fact, redisturbing or expanding a cut through unjustly burdens a stream or watershed that is struggling to overcome previous harms. Just as wrong is imposing a pipeline on an intact virgin watershed. The proposed PennEast pipeline will impose myriad adverse impacts on the streams and habitats of the Saralands and the downstream Delaware River. And it will cause degrading to the water supplies for over 5 million people who get their water from this part of the Delaware River watershed, including the DNR Canal, Swan Creek Reservoir, and the Delaware River itself. The scope of the analysis that PennEast will be required to conduct by FERC must include a comprehensive analysis based on all of these impacts and the consideration of alternatives such as the no action option and the implementation of energy conservation and efficiency measures that would replace the energy calculated to be associated with PennEast shale gas delivery. The energy efficiency and conservation action will provide great environmental benefits, supporting healthy streams and stream communities here, rather than inflicting the considerable environmental damages that will accompany any route for the PennEast pipeline. Thank you.